Okay, so I usually don't do reveals, but today I want to talk about the new DRAGNOA.SHADOW Messiah and talk about kind of the interesting implications that you can do with it in Premium, and kind of give you guys my generic thoughts with the card in general, because for a good second stride for Standard, like, this is actually really good. So for those who don't understand what the card does, it has a auto generation break 3 skill where when it attacks the Vanguard, you counterblast 1, unlock all of your locked cards, then you choose the same number of your opponent's rear guards as the number of face-up cards in G-Zone and lock them. And then you choose the same number of your rear guards as this number of face-off DRAGNOA.SHADOW Messiahs in the G-Zone, and they get +5. So that is pretty freaking good. So not only do you get to, on essentially your second stride turn, get 2 locks on the board, basically just because why not, but you also get an additional power buff, which really matters a lot, because you have a lot of your your main deck and pieces in general that allow you to lock at stuff at the end of the battle, and then DRAGNOA comes in and then activates the effect. And so this is just a better amnesty in almost every single way. So much so that where I think a lot of people are going to usually use this for the flip up effect from the amnesty immediately, and then that way you have an additional +5 on 2 of your rear guards the moment you go into this. And I think in general it's a pretty solid card in Standard. I definitely see this being the go-to stride after your first stride turn. I don't see a world where, as long as it's still a solid stride, I think that's the name of it, the Persona stride. But I get where that's coming from, where you kind of alternate between that and this, and I think in general it's a pretty solid card universally, just because you're able to lock 2 on the front row, or just snipe certain rear guards, and because they unlock in the end of the turn and get bound because of the crest, you're kind of just sitting there and you're cooking. And in Premium in particular, this is actually surprisingly good, because essentially what ends up happening is you can essentially just use this in any Link Joker variant now at this point, right? Because you don't have to unlock any of your cards to get the effect off. You do as much of the skill as possible. So what ends up happening is, on your second stride turn, you'll go swing with this, activate effect to lock up to 2 or 3, depending if you use a G-Guard prior to it. And then essentially you get a triangle lock. And that's really fucking strong. And this is only going to stack even further. The more copies of this you have, it's probably going to be the better. And because, especially in Messiah in Premium in particular, this helps towards the integral play, where essentially you'll go Judgment to get the 2 markers, and then you go into this after the fact, just to lock a potential 2 to 3 rear guards on your opponent's board. For a counterblast, that's really freaking solid, when in comparison to something like Blue Ball Dragon, where you would have to Soul Blast for the effect. I even see Chaos actually running this, strangely enough, just in case they end up using their grade 1 promo from V, where it's you just lock 2 of your rear guards and then you go into this. You still have your 3 attacks, and because you're going to be able to unlock in conjunction to it. I see a world where many variants of Link Joker are able to use this card, at least to some extent, right? Because the idea of now you can suddenly take advantage of your G-Guards in a way that is beneficial to you. Now you suddenly have the option to either go into Blue Ball Dragon just for that immediate pressuring with the front row, or you go into this, and regardless, it'll be kind of a situational thing for Starvaders in particular, because now you have that option, right? Because usually when you go into this, you'll have 2 face-up in G-Zone, so that's pretty good, and then possibly more if you G-Guard beyond that. But in general, this is just an amazing stride. I think this is exactly what Link Joker needed for the longest time, and I think there's going to be a lot of Link Joker variants that will take advantage of this. I totally see a world where there are going to be plenty of Link Joker variants, like the Messiah Deleter package, Starvaders, that will just take advantage of this, right? And when you combine that with the Deleter grade 1 that makes it so that way your opponent's cards are Omega locked, yeah, that's going to be fucking crazy. So I'm actually really excited to try this out in all my Link Joker variants, in Premium in particular, but I'm still super excited to see how this will help Messiah out in Standard, because dear God, they needed something really good, and I think this is probably the most we could have actually realistically asked for. It really just gives you an alternative, like, good second stride option that we previously didn't have before, and I think that universally this is just going to be an amazing card. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. And until next time, this is Noah, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye, everyone.